Hi everyone, and welcome back to the next part in this How to Draw a Dog in Coloured Pencil series. Today we're going to do what I'd consider is the hardest part of a pet portrait, and that is the mouth. I'll see how far we get, but I'm definitely going to do the tongue in this tutorial, but I've looked and there's so many different colours involved in this, so it's quite complicated and it's quite technical, so we'll see how far we get. But as always, everything is linked down below, so all of the resources and the photo and stuff like that. So let's begin. So the first colour that I'm going to start out with for the tongue is light magenta from the polychromos, and I'm going to do a slightly different technique than we've done in the last few videos, and I'm going to start with this slightly darker colour and then layer over it with white. So I will just start to rub out some of these pencil lines a little bit. So that I can just about see them. And I'm really lightly just going to start going over the tongue. Sometimes when you don't have the exact coloured pencil, you have to improvise a little bit, so that's what I'm doing here. I hope that you're all well. Sorry it's been a while since I last uploaded part 3. I've had my drawing studio or office. I've done it up a little bit and I've got a new desk, so hopefully this video will be a bit less shaky than the last one. The last desk that I had was really unstable and I can tell already the difference. So just really lightly colouring that in. Right, I think I'll leave it at that. We can always build it up a little bit. Then next I'm going to use white from the Luminance pencils, and I'm just going to start pressing on quite hard and just blending it into the right side of this section of the tongue. Gives it a nicer surface, like it looks a bit more smooth. Because sometimes when you put a darker pencil down before you put a lighter one down, it does get this like bubbly effect. And we don't want that. I won't take it too far up because it does get quite dark on this bit. Right, so that's like a nice base layer to start out with. So next I'm going to take that light magenta again and just start to add a bit more depth with it. Again, pressing on like super light because it is quite a strong colour. I'll link the new drawing desk that I got down below. It's from IKEA, so if anybody's looking for like a drawing desk that goes on a tilt so it's more comfortable to draw on, I'd really recommend it, it's good. I'm just going to add a bit more here where it's a bit darker. Oh my gosh, it's so windy. I do find the luminance pencils are a lot more difficult to blend with than the polychromos. That's why I don't use the full set. I just use the colours that I don't have. They're just really hard to blend, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else finds that. Right. I'm going to use this lovely bright pink colour, Pink Carmine, and just where there's a really bright area pink here, I'm just going to start adding that in. Really, really thin line at the top, and then slightly thicker here. I don't really use the pink colours that often, so it's nice to branch out a little bit for a change. As you can see, I'm not even sharpened this one yet because it's straight out the box. I'm just gonna add a little bit up here as well. Right, I won't go much further with that just yet. So next I'm going to do the same thing for this section with that light magenta colour. Just rub out that pencil line a little bit. And really, really lightly just going over that section again with this. I think it's easier to break it down into like little sections. So hopefully it'll be straightforward enough for you to follow. There we go. So this section is actually a bit darker than this bit, so I might just leave it and not put any white on it just yet. Leave it at that. And then going to add some beige red, or light flesh it might be called if you've got that one. And I'm just going to concentrate this at the bottom to add a bit of a more peachy tone. Just blending it out a bit there. So I'm doing quite like a firm pressure here and then getting lighter as I go out so it blends in nicely. I'm just going to bring it a little bit down here. Blending it out. I feel like I need to sharpen this. There. Just gonna blend it around here a little bit as well. And a little bit around this edge. Blends really nicely into that white actually. Yeah, that's looking good. So, next, I'm actually gonna add a little bit more up here. Bear with me if I'm a little bit slow on this one. Tongs aren't my forte, so it's just as hard for me as it is for you on this one. It's kind of like blending it into this bit. Bit more up here. Right, that'll do for now, I think. Okay, so the next colour that I'm going to use is this one. It's called Pompian Red. I'm just going to sharpen it a bit actually. And I'm just going to start adding that into this bit to darken it up. Again, really, really lightly. Rather than like colouring it, I'm just doing like little like tapping motions just to try and really subtly blend it. Bring it down a bit here. Okay, then I'm going to use Caput Mortem, and I'm going to start adding in the detail underneath the tongue here. So I'm just going to do again little tapping sort of motions. Start to add a bit of detail and shadowing. Actually just draw a bit of a line there to define that tooth. Just doing like little subtle lines to try and get that texture. And here there is like a little line. just following the squiggles that you can see on the picture. You don't have to be absolutely perfect. There's one here. Another one here. Again, still not pressing on hard. That sort of like blends into this bit. And this bit here, a lot darker underneath there. So applying a bit more pressure. Then just going to add a bit more to this section. Right, I can kind of see it's actually a little bit more purple in the picture. So I'm going to go back with that light magenta and just add a little bit more into those lighter sections. Just blend it all together. Leaving this bit a tiny bit lighter. Right. Then I'm going to use dark sepia just to add a bit of depth to this outer part. Really lightly now, just over this bit. And I'm going to use the caput mortem again and just darken up this bit. Like another like curve there. And I'm just going to add a bit more to this bit as well. I think a little bit more here. Another line here. I'm going to just keep darkening it up. They look really weird at first when you're drawing a tongue, but once you've like drawn the teeth and everything else, it starts to look a bit more tongue-like. I think I will darken this bit up as well. They're not very forgiving if you make a mistake, so that's why I'm just doing it really gradually, so it doesn't look weird. Okay, that's a lot better. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. So I think I'm just going to use that light magenta again, and I'm actually just going to refine this a little bit, make it a bit more sharp. A bit more of an edge to it, and just blend that out. Yeah, a lot better. And I'm going to just add a bit more to the top here as well. That looks good. I'm just going to blend it out again a bit with that white. White can be really good for blending on top of colours as long as you've not layered loads and loads of different colours together, it does blend quite nicely. Might even add a little bit of white here, just to blend that together. Right, pleased with that so far. Always go back to it in a second. I'm going to start now on this section. So I think I will just do the exact same, but I'm just going to outline it with caput mortuum first, just so I know where that where that tooth is. Like that. Tidy up that shape a bit as well. Right. Then, oh, just dropping things. And then I'm going to do the same again on the other tooth at this side. Might have gone a bit far with that. tiny bit. There we go. Right, and then I'm just going to mark in where these little squiggly bits are before I rub it out. Right, now rub it out a bit. There we go. And just lightly add a base layer of light violet, light magenta, sorry, light magenta. Okay, then I'm going to use Caput Mortem again and just start adding in those details. But where these little white bits are from the hers, just going to make sure you can see them. And I'm just going to leave a little end to the hair like that. That makes sense. Like that. Then just gonna start darkening it up. Oh, that always scares me when that happens. I am pressing on a little bit harder now because this is quite a dark section, so make sure it's nice and deep. Right, so where that squiggly bit is, just gonna add shading to this side of it. Then this side of this one. I need to resharpen my pencil after it just broke. Then I'm just going to really gradually blend it out here so it leaves like a lighter squiggly line. And just really lightly go over it so that that bit is lighter. You could go mad and add so many details, but again, I think sometimes details aren't 100% necessary, and you're better off just creating more of like an illusion of detail than drawing every single tiny little bit of texture that you can see. There we go. Same again here. Just going to sharpen it again. Clearly does not want to stay sharp. I'm just doing like a little triangle shape here, going around that. A little weird triangle shape. Just to add a little bit of detail. And I'm going to blend it here. Go over that slightly. And I'm just going to use that light magenta colour again. Blend it together a bit more. And a bit more purple. And then I'm going to use some of the white just to mute that colour a little bit. Just add a little bit here. You see how it sort of like dulls it a little bit? And it blends it all together. Just going to go over this like lighter little squiggly bit. And then this bit. You can even bring it down a bit more if you want. Tiny bit more here. I think that's looking good. Right. So this bit here is a little bit more of a bright pink colour. So I'm just going to use the Pompian red again. Just slightly go over it with that. To brighten, add a bit more vibrance. There we go. I'm just going to go over that bit again. Disappeared a bit. Actually, take it a little bit over that. Then I'm going to use dark sepia, and I'm just going to darken these bits up. So we'll start here and just again leave those little gaps for the ends of the fur, those little lighter bits, like that. Sorry, it keeps going a bit exposed. Same at this side, leave those little gaps, little triangle shapes. Such an easy way to create like an illusion of loads of detail. Looks a lot harder than it is. And I'm just going to colour in this entire section. Don't worry about blending it into this bit just yet, we'll do that in a second. Go. Right, so it does blend a bit darker here, but I'm going to use Caput Mortem again and just blend this bit out, doing like little circular motions. And then I'm just going to blend this in a little bit with the same little circular motions. Not pressing on too hard. Just creating a nice blend. I'll just go back in with the Caput Mortem. I hope I'm saying that right. You'll know what I mean though. Just going to bring it down here a little bit. Similar like circular motions that we used on the nose if you watched that one. Same again with the dark sepia. Back again with the Caput Mortem. It's take a while to get it to all blend nicely together. But as soon as it looks blended to you, just move on to the next bit. Doing little tapping motions again. Then I'm just going to use this light magenta colour again, just think it needs blending out a bit here. I'm going to use white and just go over this bit to try and blend it together a bit more. It's really annoying sometimes, I don't know if you can see, but you'll get like little blobs of colour and they're hard to blend together, but you just have to keep going over it until it looks smooth. Right, that'll do. I think that'll do. And then I'm just going to darken up this section as well. Sharpen my pencil. I'm going to use dark sepia again and just darken up those dark bits. Kind of line there. Feels like the house is gonna blow down. It's so bad outside. Just gonna add a bit in between these two little bits. Pressing on lightly again. I think I need a bit more caput mortem. just to blend these bits out. Just gonna add a bit more in here. I think that's looking pretty good now. Pretty tidy. Yeah. Right, I'm happy with that. Let's now do this little bit here, this little tooth. So I'm going to use that cup-up mortem again, and I'm just going to draw around this tooth. Like that. Fill in this section just with that one colour. About up to there. Take it down to about here. Then I'm going to use beige red or light flesh, depending on what you have, and I'm just going to ever so slightly rub that pencil line out, and I'm going to colour in this section, leave that tooth white, and then just bring that down about there. Then I'm going to use cup-up mortem again, and I'm just going to, my phone is vibrating like mad, sorry if you can hear that. Just going to go over that bit. Right. Then I'm just going to use that cup-up mortem and blend it in a bit here on this bit of the gum. It's really lightly. Darker here. Right, then that tooth is actually a bit yellow, it's not fully white, so I'm going to use ivory, just colour that tooth in. And then there's like a greeny kind of shadow. So I'm going to use olive green yellowish, and just really lightly add a bit of a shadow here. Like that, and then I'm going to use dark sepia again, darken it up this little bit. Right, then I think next we'll do these teeth here. So I'm just going to outline this bit with dark sepia. This is where it gets a bit complicated now, like this bit. That could be a whole video in itself, there's a lot to it, but let's see how long it takes to do these teeth. Just bringing that down a bit. Then I'm just gonna right. And now I'm going to use beige red, either one, and I'm going to start drawing those pink bits around the teeth. I have rubbed that one out of it, so just sort of freehanding it. I think teeth are like one of the hardest bits to draw, because if you get the teeth looking a bit wonky, it just looks weird. So take your time on this bit, no rush. Leaving the slightest pencil marks so you can still see where I'm drawing. This one. Definitely put too much of a gap between those teeth. It's alright, just rub it out. That's the beauty of not pressing on too hard to begin with. It's better. And then this one. There we go. That's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to use that light magenta again, because it is a bit more purpley than it is peachy, and really lightly just go over that pink bit that we've done. Right, and then I'm going to use white again just to blend it together a bit more. Really lightly, I don't want it to look too like dull. Right, then I'm going to use Caput Mortem again. Let's stick with the same colour, and then I'll just start to add those like little details in the gums. I like where it's a bit dark around here. Refine that tooth a little bit. Might end up reblending it a bit with the white just so it's a bit nicer. Just a little bit here. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that looks pretty good, that. Then dark sepia again, just to darken this bit up, like a little line here. Just going to put that in. Yeah. Then I'm just going to draw this little line underneath the teeth just to clearly differentiate those two sections. And I'm going to use Luminance Sepia 10%, which is like a muted purpley grey colour. I'll just erase those lines a little bit. Then I'm just going to draw a bit of a line just to clearly define those separate sections. Just following the line on the picture. Neat. Then I'm just going to darken it up again with that Caput Mortem around the bottom of the teeth, between the gaps, and really lightly blend it up. Just missed a bit there. Beige red. Like a line there kind of thing. And a line here. Just gonna sort of going between them gaps. I'm actually going to add a bit more of the where's it gone? The pumpkin red. Just where it's a bit more vibrant here. And yeah, sweet teeth. Just add a bit more of the caput mortuum here, where I blended it out earlier. Actually, I think it does need a little bit more purple still as well, so light magenta, I'm just going to re-go over this bit we blended out with the white, just to put in some of that pigment again that we took out with the white. But it's now just got a nicer texture and it's more blended. A bit here as well, I think. Yeah, looks nice. Now I'm going to do the teeth, so I'll use ivory again, just sharpen it. I'll use ivory, and I'm just gonna, first of all, I'm gonna rub out any of the pencil that's managed to smudge onto the tooth. Sometimes you do get a bit of like debris, is that the right word? From the pencils that you just used. So I'll just make sure it's clean. And then I'm going to go over it with ivory. Just so it's not so bright white. Because most of the time dogs' teeth aren't 100% white. They don't have teeth whitening. Looks a bit more natural. And then just a little bit at the bottom of these teeth, not at the top, because they do sort of fade into a brighter white at the top, but just at the bottom. And then on this one, there is like a little bit of a shadow, like an orangey shadow, so I'm just going to use burnt ochre. And I'm just going to bring that up here. Like that. There we go. I'm trying to decide whether to just darken, yeah, I think I will, with caput mortuum again. Just darken behind these teeth. where the gum's a little bit darker. Yeah, that's better. There we go. Right, I'm happy with that bit now. So now I'm going to do this bit here. So again, just rub out the pencil lines. Then I'm going to use Cold Grey 1 as a base layer. Just go over that whole section. Like that. Then I'm going to use sepia 10% again from Luminance, just to once again redefine those sections. Like that. And then I'm going to start using this colour. I'm just going to start adding it to the top. Just following the areas where you can see the darker bit on the picture. Bring it down a bit at the side. And leave this middle bit for the highlight. I think it needs a bit more dark purple in it. So I'm going to use Caput Mortem Violet, which is a really similar colour to Caput Mortem, but it's got more like a purpley undertone. So I'm just going to use that and start darkening this purple bit up. Just sharpen it a bit. It is going to be hard to achieve the perfect colour on this bit, so if it's a bit more purple or if it's a bit more slightly different, it doesn't matter too much. It's really lightly blending it in. I've left this bit a bit lighter. As you can see the picture, it's a little bit lighter in that corner. Then I think I will use cold grey too, and I'm just gonna add a bit more of a bluey colour to this side. Right. Right, now I'm just gonna, I want it to be a bit more blue, so I'm gonna use sky blue really lightly over this bit, just because that cold grey isn't quite blue enough, I don't think. That's better. Right, and I'm going to use dark sepia. I'm just going to darken these bits up. Really lightly go over this bit. Then over this middle bit. And using those little like tapping sort of motions. This is like one of the hardest bits because the colour is so like not a colour that I have in a pencil. So we'll just do the best we can. I'm going to use that sepia 10% again to just try and blend it together a bit more. The good thing about luminance is you can put a lighter colour on top of a darker colour more easily than you can with the polychromos. That is one good thing about them, to be fair. Right, it's looking better now. I'm happier with that now. Don't think I'll do too much more with that because it might just start looking a bit weird. Just going to darken those top bits up again. Right. I think that will do, to be honest. It doesn't need to be like crazy detailed, I say, as I'm adding more to it, but just a bit more in the middle, I think, and then I'll call it a day on that bit. Just bringing those strokes down. I've gone a bit too far there. Oh well. Right, that'll do. I'm happy with that. I'll just darken this bottom bit up. Ready for the next section. Then I think I'll just do this bit here. So dark sepia really hard around there to create an outline. Then I'm going to use cold grey 1. Just go over that whole section. Compress quite hard for that. Then I'm going to use dark sepia because it is quite dark, and I'm just going to start drawing around those little highlighty bits. Make sure you leave those lighter. Right. Sometimes these bits can be easier than they look. And then I'm just going to use a bit of that Caput Mortem Violet and just really lightly go over it here, just add a bit of purple. Right, I think judging how straightforward that was, I think we are going to just do this bit. If this tutorial gets a bit long, I'll just speed some bits up, but hopefully we'll be okay. And then I'm just going to use dark sepia again. I'm just going to draw around those whiskers. Then on this bit. This bit's fairly straightforward because it's just going to be a full dark sepia section. Nice and dark. Same again for this bit. Then I'm just going to draw around the other side of this whisker. And there's like a little crisscross shape for the fur here. Where that one meets that one. Just going to draw around this part. Then I'm just going to colour it in to about 3/4 of the way up with dark sepia. Then I'm going to colour the top, just leave that little gap in the middle, and I'm going to use cold grey 1, just in that gap like that. And then there is actually a little pink section here, so I'm going to leave that blank for now and just go around it. The dark sepia, again leaving a little whisker there. Go around this one. Make sure that the hair's going both ways there, like that. Like a little cross shape. And then I'm just gonna bring this dark sepia, follow that pencil line, bring this dark sepia here, and then it's like a little triangular sort of shape there. So I'm just going to add a bit of dark sepia there. Then I'll draw with beige red again, this little section. Draw that in. caput mortem just to darken that bit up. Just using them tapping motions again. There we go. Then I'm going to add dark sepia and do the same sort of thing we did here. Draw around that lighter bit that's in the centre. And then use cold grey 1 just over that middle bit where the highlights are. Bit here. Then, do you know what, let's just go over that top bit. Then again, just going around that little whisker and sort of colouring it in everywhere except for the highlights. But blending it out. Like that. Then it's a bit darker in this bottom bit. Just leave a few little gaps because there are a few little highlights dotted around. And then colour that in. Let's darken this up a bit. Then I'm going to use that caput mortem violet, just add a few squiggles in that centre bit. And I'm just going to add that in to the top. So blend it in. Just add a bit of purple. And a bit in the bottom as well, I think. Yeah. So, just for the sake of finishing this tutorial a nice bit where it looks like a completed section, I'm just going to do this little triangular bit here. So same again, cold grey 1 just over that section. Then dark sepia, sort of like goes down in a little darker bit here, and then some little shapes here. You don't have to be too perfect with it, just as long as you create a bit of texture. Then a bit more of the caput mortem violet, just to add a bit of purple. Right, I think that's a good place to end this tutorial now. It looks pretty good to me. So thank you everyone for watching. Let me know how you get on and join me again next time and we'll draw the rest of the mouth. Thank you.